Hi, Roon. I'm Mitch Juricic, and my light is working this week. And welcome to Hooked on the Niners.
And I'm Terrell Jones. We'll talk about the disappointing battle at Bourbon Street.
Disappointing indeed. And I'm Jerry Walker. My light's working, but might not matter. We're going to talk about going to Washington.
Going to Washington. And this week, after that terrible loss, as Terrell said, to give us a calming influence, we've brought in Dan Brown from the San Jose Mercury News, and we've pumped him full of Quaaludes, so it should have a calming effect on him. You okay?
A delicious breakfast.
Okay, all right. We'll have a bunch of stuff coming up right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is supported by the Canyon Inn, 650-369-1646, and on the web at www.canyoninn.com. Bach Construction, 650-344-4844, or on the web at www.bachconstruction.com. Lawson's Wildlife Adventures, 650-504-3400. On the web at www.lawsonwildlifeadventures.com. Tisa's Pepper Jelly, 650-787-2357. And on the web at tisaspepperjelly.com. Check out the Peninsula TV studio with over 2,000 square feet of space in the auditorium of the Samtrans building in San Carlos. One studio, many looks. From a simple talk show to an onstage production, from musical performances to business webcasts, PowerPoint presentations, Skype interviews. With our state-of-the-art control room, we're one mouse click away from going live from our studio to the internet or to Peninsula TV. For more information, call 650-637-1936 or use the Contact Us form at pentv.tv.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. Where to start? Give me a starting point.
I'll give you a starting point.
Okay, give me one.
Not one play lost that game.
Right.
Okay.
Not one.
All
There's
right.
a lot of players walk around today going, man, I lost that game. Not one play lost it. Not one official's call either.
I don't know.
And I agree with you.
You know,
And,
okay.
I mean, you got to look at there's a series of things. Look at the time management wasn't
Yeah.
good. The challenges were not good.
No.
Special teams played good, then they went down.
Yeah.
So Jerry's right. It's a cumulative effect.
Yeah, but the call, I mean, come on.
As the rule is written,
Oh, there
right?
you go.
As the rule
Yes.
is written in 2013, with all this emphasis on protecting the players and head safety and concussion prevention, it's the head and neck area.
Yeah.
Right. So the question is, where does the head and neck area begin?
Yeah,
That was probably right on the borderline.
yeah.
And I think even if, like these guys said, even if you take the stance that that was a bad call, a lot of other things went the Niners' way. It didn't lose the game.
Right.
It's easy to scapegoat that play. It's easy to take out your frustration on that play. It was debatable, but maybe too much is being put on that one referee's call.
I
Here.
totally agree.
You know, because the Saints could say, look, we had Kaepernick throwing outside or inside the pocket from the end zone, should
Yeah.
have been a safety. That was a debatable call. That one went the Niners' way. So a little of both.
Well, and then there was that pass interference, that was on our side against, I think it was Baldwin, where you go back and you look at it. I mean, it was like flag football. So, it balances out. And I will say this about the officials, too. If they let something like that go, with the hit on Breeze, they would hear about it.
Right.
They would have heard about it from the league down.
Definitely.
So,
I
Now,
think
the one call that bothered me
Huh.
was Baldwin's touchdown or non-touchdown. The ruling on that just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
You got to control it. You're on the ground. You should be able to flip it around as long as it doesn't leave your hands.
Well, let me just say
Leave
this.
your body.
We'll talk about that in 2 seconds. As far as that the call goes, y'all are crazy. Anyhow, the Baldwin thing, out of bounds. If I'm inbounds going across the middle and he throws me, now this is a lot to imagine. This is a lot and you throw me the ball, and I go like this, and I catch it, and I go down on the ground, and as I'm on my back, the ball's rolling around, and I stop it.
It's a catch.
That's a catch.
Yeah. Right.
Why isn't it a catch?
Because he's out of bounds.
So what?
No, because it's in the end zone.
Yeah.
That's why. And the thing is,
So we have rules for catches in the end zone and rules for
Yes.
catch. What the hell are we doing?
because they want you to complete the process. And you know, going with that, and sorry, Jerry, that's where those guys, Harbaugh and everybody up the stairs, should know that rule. That's why when he threw that challenge flag, I said, you can't do that. Because, I mean, me sitting on the couch knows that you have to complete the process.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, I've got a list of stuff here. You know, I said, where are we going to start? The play clock. I mean, we're 10 games into this now, and we started a little game at home. How many times will they snap the ball with 2 seconds or less on the clock?
Right.
And we got to 7 and stopped.
Right.
And said the heck with it. It's crazy.
You
Right.
don't need to snap it early. 2 seconds or less is okay, but it gets really tight there. It gets
Well,
really
that's
nervous.
what I mean. It's
And
just
then,
constant. If you want to snap it at 2 seconds because you want to run time off the clock, that's fine. But there's nothing wrong with putting the ball in play a little earlier so you can maybe get more plays.
there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing against that is that stadium. That
Yeah.
stadium is the loudest, including Seattle's. That
Jerry,
stadium
no
is the
offense.
loudest.
We do that everywhere.
Well-
I don't care where we're playing. We do it everywhere.
And you're right, because you look at it for the last, I think, 3 games, by halftime, we have no timeouts left.
Right.
You know?
Or challenges.
Exactly.
When you
If
might
you're
need
gonna-
them.
Well, and if you're going to talk about time management, the Kaepernick play at the end where he runs out of bounds
Oh, my
to
goodness.
stop the clock to
Yeah.
give the Saints another play or two,
Right.
which is all they needed to pull out the win. That's Kaepernick, for as inexperienced as he is, should know that one.
Right.
Now he said, look, I'm trying to get around the corner, I'm trying to get a first down. You look at the play, that was a pretty dicey proposition. He should have
Right.
found a way to just
I think he should. This is me talking.
Yeah.
Never play. He should cut in and try to get the first down. I realize he's the quarterback, but he's also a football player, and we're at that dire part of the game where we need a first down.
Right.
Second thing is, he calls a timeout when he doesn't have a timeout, and I see a play like this. He doesn't know the game. He's not game ready. I still like his intangibles. He's my guy.
I disagree with you that he's not game ready. I just think he's got so many things going on. You know.
Well, that to me means game ready.
Well, no, but look at it this way. He sees what's going on, but then also too, you got players who are not in sync with him right off the bat. You know, and still, I mean, we talked about this before. You know, the first half, Vernon didn't look sharp to me. Okay, he's not still on the same page with Manningham. He's not on page with Baldwin. You know, and he keeps having to go back to Anquan. You know, so that takes a lot. You know.
I guess my point is, and we've said this for many, many weeks, and I've led the charge, if what we're saying is that Crabtree is that important to his development and for this team winning, then that tells me you've built your team around one guy, and heaven forbid, I'm even saying this, if he dies in a car accident tonight, what are we going to do? Do something else.
Crabtree is important. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's saying that he's the do-all, win-all. He's an important ingredient. The tools are so different this year than they had last year.
Right.
There's a step or two back in talent and execution.
Right.
It's not just Cap.
And I think for some reason with
Excuse me.
Sure.
But he has gone backwards. He's taken a step back,
Well,
whatever
that's-
the reason.
That's the NFL.
Yeah.
You get to the Super Bowl and every team in the league that's on your schedule next year
Absolutely.
steals some of your offense, steals some of your defense, and they prepare for you all season long unknowingly.
Yeah.
Subconsciously?
Yeah,
Unconsciously, one of the two.
Yeah.
I was going to say with Crabtree, it's more than just a number, more than just one more weapon. I think that was Kaepernick's go-to guy. That was his safety net. And that was a calming influence. If I'm in trouble, if I'm in duress, I can find Crabtree.
Right.
Yep.
And for a while, I think he had that going with Vernon Davis, where he was the new go-to guy. But Vernon's banged up. I think Crabtree does more than just provide one more receiver. I think he calms Kaepernick down and gives him a safety valve.
Well, it's like Linus in a safety blanket.
Yeah.
You know.
I was just going to say, you heard it here first on Hooked on the Niners. Quarterbacks need a thumb and a blankie. I mean, I guess it's what they need, and that's what Crabtree is to him, right?
But I mean, and we talked about this last week as well, is that last year when Kaepernick got in there, nobody knew what to expect.
Yeah.
Now
They
everybody
do.
knows
They do.
his
They're-
strengths and weaknesses.
Hang on, they're giving me the hook right here. When we come back, we're going to talk
That'll be
about,
the first
we haven't
time.
even talked about the positive stuff, which is our defense, which is looking pretty stellar. We'll do that in the next segment, and we'll talk with Jerry. He's got some show and tell from the museum right here on Hooked on the Niners. Well,
Hooked on the Niners is supported by California Catering, San Mateo, 650-345-4881. On the web at CaliforniaCateringSanMateo.com. California Catering, South San Francisco, 650-589-0729. On the web at www.california-catering-company.com. California Catering, Emerald Hills, 650-369-4200. On the web at www.cacateringcompany.com. Bay 101 Casino, 408-451-8888. On the web at bay101.com.
Hi, I'm Katie Roletto, and I'm a local professional media producer. Thanks to Penn TV's volunteer program, I was able to expand upon my experience and gain some amazing training in the areas of television production right here in the Bay Area. The staff at Penn TV is very skilled and experienced in all aspects of technical production and really helped me learn and grow. If you're interested in finding out more about Penn TV's volunteer program, please visit them at www.penntv.tv and click on the volunteer tab. Thanks, Penn TV.
yeah. All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. We're still talking about the call. And you hit it right on the nose, J-Dub. It was the perfect storm.
Yep.
I still think y'all are crazy. But that's, that's...
One thing we were just talking about it, but it did not help wherever he hit him, wherever the landing zone was. Breeze's neck snaps way out of play.
Yeah.
You watch it in slow motion, and I think that's what the ref saw was
yeah.
this
It looked
neck,
like a bobblehead.
going all ET, bobblehead.
Yeah.
And I think, star quarterback in the NFL in
That's
2013, his neck goes out of whack, you're going to see a flag.
Oh, yeah.
And
Plus, there was a little bit of blood coming from his mouth as well. So
That was a hit. It was
Yeah.
a nice hit.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What have you got from the for show and tell?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. All right.
No,
Well, moving.
No. I got some things.
Okay. Now these are things that are actually going to be in the museum.
They'll be in our armory. There'll be possibilities. We're working with design teams from across the country. We have a design team in Virginia, one in Massachusetts, and then a group in Canada that's helped putting they're the fabricators, help putting the displays together. They've worked on halls of fame. They've worked on hard rocks,
Okay.
different things like that. So they know what would please the public when they come here.
And you've traveled around the country to other museums, like the one in New England, so on and so forth.
Cincinnati, New York.
Correct? Okay.
And the Niners pay you for that?
Oh wow. Oh wow. So back in '88.
You didn't hit anybody around the neck or shoulders on one of those trips, did you? I'm not letting this go now. I'm just not letting go. Okay.
Before I walk in a museum, I look for
new
yellow
flag.
flags. Yeah.
Wait, you didn't steal Robert Kraft's ring, did you?
So
So come on.
in 1988, how
Yeah.
many years ago would that be?
Oh, gee, 20, 25?
Let's ask the brains.
25?
1, 2.
25?
Okay, so 25 years ago,
Okay.
we played an American Bowl in Wembley Stadium.
Okay.
And we got a bag that they gave to all the travel party.
Well, that's cool.
So we played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So those are one of the cushions, and they give out the goodies.
Yeah.
And the cushions, and so we're trying to go back as far as we can. Now, in that Super Bowl, they gave each of the fans a little radio with a headset. So if you came in your backpack was one of these, and you could tune into the television network. I think ABC had that game.
Really?
Or you could listen, ABC TV, the audio. You could listen to the CBS radio or AFC team radio, NFC team radio. Like
Sure.
the Niners were in it. So
Right.
pretty cool.
That's
So,
cool stuff.
so this is stuff that a lot of fans aren't gonna recognize right away. I mean, you
Okay.
can recognize, but it's like pretty impressive. So we got some hats. I keep showing them to you. I should show them to the cameras.
Yeah,
right?
Super Bowl,
Super
the
Bowl
Super
hats.
Bowl hats.
Super Bowl hats.
Yeah.
Super Bowl hats.
All high
Keep going.
crown. What is this?
That's
Dean-
music
but-
for Fred Dean.
Fred Dean. So we talk a lot all the time about players having post-career jobs,
Yeah.
professions.
Right.
Fred Dean had a garage that worked on cars, bent fenders and motors and stuff on cars.
Nice.
In San Diego while he was playing.
Wow.
That's
and
awesome.
Fred gave me that hat.
Nice. And the old 49ers, yeah.
1981.
1981. You see Bill
the
wearing one of
Super
those on the
Bowl
sideline.
season.
Wow.
I got more.
Wow, you got more.
How long is this segment?
You did. Well, it's going to go longer now. The World Championship, Super Bowl,
The first one.
the first one.
A little less elaborate on the design
Yeah,
back in
exactly.
the days.
What this was actually, was this a practice T-shirt?
Yeah, you probably want to hold that towards this. I think you're on this camera
the back
over
of
here.
it?
Yeah, right there.
Practice T-shirt.
There you go. Nice.
So a
And
team,
this is
a team towel
team towels.
from the first time we're in a Super Bowl in Joe Robbie.
Yeah.
Is that thing washed?
Yep.
It
Yeah.
could-
Oh, jeez.
It could use a little Tide. And I'm not talking Alabama either.
Yeah. Right.
So this is my last show and tell of the day. This is it's a
American
different
Bowl.
different American Bowl. This one's in Tokyo, I
In
think.
Tokyo, yeah, the one. That's where the plane almost didn't take off, right? Coming home.
Yeah.
With the monsoon coming there. I remember that
Exactly.
story.
Exactly.
I remember that story. So, I mean, this just goes to show it's not just going to be statues and busts and jerseys and stuff. You guys are you're pulling out all the stops, trying to think of
We're
everything.
trying to tell the history
Yeah.
through stories and sidebars, features, the kind of stuff that Dan would write.
Right,
You know,
right.
interesting, funny, creative, clever stuff.
Absolutely.
And so rather than just give you stats on the Super Bowl when we kicked booty,
Sure.
give you a little memorabilia from the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all great stuff. I can't wait till that thing. We're obviously going to get a private tour before.
Oh yeah.
How many times has he taken shots at us today?
Yeah, okay. All right.
There's a-
How about
The
this?
three of us?
Some
How
of us
about
will
this?
get a private tour.
Look how well the 49er defense played yesterday, or the last 2 weeks. And you know, they must be at the boiling point because I don't know if you guys have heard this statistic. The yards gained by the 49ers in the fourth quarter in their last 2 games, 12 yards total.
Yeah.
4 against Carolina and 8 against New Orleans.
Right.
Now, and that's another thing I was going to say about Kaepernick. Consecutive games, he's had his potential Joe Montana moment. You know, on the 20, a minute something, you got a timeout, take us down for a field goal, and couldn't do it. But that's the kind of stuff that I think will come. I'm just more concerned about him knowing if we have timeouts and when to run out of bounds or not. But having said that, the defense. What was it?
Navarro Bowman.
Navarro Bowman, 13 tackles,
He's
15.
playing his butt off.
Oh, he really is. That guy is just absolutely fabulous.
And if you look at it, if it wasn't for the defense, would we have scored? I mean,
No,
Exactly.
right, exactly. Defense and special teams probably wouldn't have scored at all.
You're right.
And but you know, and then how many times did we get to Breeze? We got to him once, but
There were a
they
couple
didn't
plays
count
when
it.
he was just standing back there like.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
We talked
longest
about
time.
Brooks's, the flag, but that interception on the attempted lob pass by Breeze.
Wow.
Oh,
That was a tremendous athletic play by
He
a
got a
big
banana,
guy.
huh?
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got some hops.
Oh yeah.
And that was Breeze's first interception in a home game in like 140 passes or something insane. So that was a terrific read, a terrific play. Kept them in the game.
Right. And
Yeah.
anytime that you can shut Jimmy Graham down, I mean, he had, I think he had 41 yards. I know this because he's on my fantasy team. But you shut a guy like that down because of the linebackers, and then, I mean, they actually put safeties on him as well. They did a great job with him, but it was everybody else. The running game, it was okay.
Yeah.
But they gave us some big pass plays, towards the end.
And I'll tell you something, credit where credit is due. Obviously, that was a good game, very entertaining game. Didn't turn out the way we wanted to. But Sean Payton and Drew Brees has to be the number one combination
Exactly.
of coach and quarterback. I mean, you can say Peyton Manning in Denver, but I think Peyton runs the show.
He
Belichick
does run the
Brady?
show.
Yeah, well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But this one here, as far as play calling goes, offensive play calling,
Right.
I think Sean Payton is the best play caller in the NFL.
I agree.
And I think he's right on page with his quarterback.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we talked about earlier, is when he started calling those timeouts before the 2-minute warning. I'm sitting there scratching my head like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Well, then it showed why he did that.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I think Breeze has in his favor, and this is very smart by the Saints, is the continuity of his personnel. It's been Jimmy Graham for a few years. It's been Meacham, who was gone but is
Right.
now back. It's
Colston.
been Colston, who's been the most reliable
Sproles.
third down guy. Sproles.
Right,
It's the
exactly.
same guy. So it's not only the coach and the quarterback, but all those guys know where to be if things go wrong, if there's a breakdown in the play. You know, Kaepernick is new, and he's got these kind of ever-changing list of weapons, some by design, some out of circumstance because of injuries. But that's a big factor when you've got a comfort zone with all those guys and experience with all those guys.
Right. You know, and getting back to the Peyton Breeze deal, doesn't that kind of remind you of the Patriots?
Yeah.
To where they start, selecting the players that are going to fit in certain roles.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at with the thing with Crabtree. It can't just be because Crabtree is missing. You got to do something. You got to. We get no one open downfield over the middle. I mean, their guys are open just like that. Here we go. I'm starting to get heated again, and we have one more segment to go through, and we'll do that when we come back right here on Hooked on the Niners. No, it just. I see these other people, running slants and stuff, and they catch the ball, and there's none of our guys in the screen.
No, you're right.
Hooked on the Niners is supported by Parkside Grill, 650-529-9007. On the web at www.parksidegrill.net. Handlery Hotel, 1-800-995-HUSH. The website is www.handlery.com. Poplar Creek Golf Course, 650-522-4653. And on the web at www.poplarcreekgolf.com. Eddie Perez and Company, 650-363-5904. On the web at www.eperezpainting.com. Armstrong Carpet and Linoleum Company, 415-751-2827. On the web at www.armstrongcarpet.com.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners, and with Dan Brown here. Just wanted to go back one more time. I know we did this last week. Want to do it with Dan here. We've got just a little video to show you. We had a book signing up at the Canyon Inn. Your book, the top 100 things that 49er fans should know or do before they die. And it was a lot of fun being up there and you signing the books, and people buying them was obviously a great thing.
Yeah, it was a blast. I mean, I'm sure you talked about this last week, but Roger Craig was there, Ray Wershing was there, Bill Ring, John Pay. Those guys came and told the stories of the good old days.
Dwayne Board showed up. Good old Pee Wee was there. Yeah. And if you would like to get a copy of that book, how can they do that?
The best bet is at Amazon.com.
Okay.
Look for 49ers and Daniel Brown, because if you just do Dan Brown, you're going to get Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
Angels and Demons.
But yeah, Daniel Brown and 49ers, chances are it'll be me and not Da Vinci Code guy.
Yeah, and you still have time. It's a great stocking stuffer and the easiest read ever.
And there might be some available still at the Canyon Inn.
There might be some available at the Canyon Inn. And while we're giving plugs, one more plug. Super Bowl, the one coming up in New York, you could win tickets if you want. They're $100 each. They're only going to sell 300 tickets. The trip includes coach airfare for 2, hotel accommodations for 4 nights, 2 tickets to the Super Bowl, and 2 tickets to the NFL Experience and the Madden Bowl. And if you want more information, go to GU63. That's Gene Upshaw 63. This is part of his golf tournament thing. GU63.org if you want to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Do you get grill class on that one?
Grill class. Double check. Discount double check. Okay. That kind of a big game coming up in Washington, D.C. You always told me that's a tough place to play.
It is a tough place to play, and on Monday night it'll be even tougher.
Yeah.
And those guys, they're much better than their record. The Redskins I'm talking about, much better than the record, and they got some things to prove and some points to make. And Niners got to get it together.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, the Niners are in a perfect position to go out there and win because Robert Griffin III has now kind of alienated himself between his teammates and the coaching staff. Did you hear the statement that he made about the coaches?
No.
He said that the Eagles knew what was coming and that we have to do that coaches have to do a better job of disguising these plays. I was like, wait a minute, you don't take shots at your coaching staff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, another thing along those lines, here I go again. He's getting heated, folks. I thought it was kind of funny that we found out that Eric Mangini was responsible for those calls of challenge calls from up the press box. In the past, you would have never found this out. How did they find that out? Was it one of you writers?
Oh, you know it was.
Harbaugh answered the question afterwards. He said, "Yeah, it was Mangini." But it's just, to me, it sounds like on the first one, they didn't get a look on the video before they threw the flag. This is on Breeze throwing beyond the line of scrimmage. That was the eye test.
Right.
And maybe if they'd got a chance to see a replay, they wouldn't have thrown that flag because that was pretty obvious. Right. The second one, I didn't think that was a horrible challenge because we've heard the referees' rulings before in previous games, and defining completing the action of a catch is not as obvious as you think. So why not roll the dice and see what kind of interpretation?
Well, the only reason why I say it was a bad call, because, from looking at it, but also, too, it's your last challenge, and then you run out of timeouts.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Right,
if you're not 100%
and you got a lot of game to go.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's the reason why I said that.
Right,
so.
Who scored the next play?
The next play.
So
I
it's
think
hindsight,
they did.
but yeah.
Hindsight, but you lost the challenge. You don't have any for the rest
I'm
of the
changing
game.
the subject.
Okay.
The Niners can win out,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
so they can be 12-4,
Yeah.
or even a bad. even if they lose one of them in there,
Right.
11-5. All you got to do is make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just make the playoffs.
And the thing is, right now, the pressure's on.
Right.
Because you got Arizona right behind you. If Carolina wins tonight,
2 minutes.
oh my goodness.
Okay.
If Carolina wins tonight,
Yeah.
and then you got Detroit, you got Chicago, you got Green Bay. So there's a lot of jockeying that can go on right now.
If the season were over today, the Niners are in. They're playing either at Philadelphia or at Detroit.
They could win out. I could also fall asleep tonight and wake up 6'4", 190 pounds.
They could win
Your
out.
dream. You would be waking up though.
They could get healthy.
Yeah.
Which is the other big factor.
Yeah, right.
We keep talking about it every week with these.
We
these
do.
guys. Yeah. If they can get healthy, if they can get Crabtree back. If they get a little confidence-building winning streak, because the schedule allows that, and if they get some of these key players back, get Aldon Smith not only back on the field but playing the way he's Aldon Smith again, keep Vernon Davis upright, they could go into the playoffs as a legitimate NFC threat.
Well, do we know how serious the injury is to Mike Iupati?
We don't.
Because
as we're taping the show, we do not.
Because they've given up 9 sacks over the past 2 games.
Right.
Which is unheard of for that line.
Right.
I think they're still a very, very good line.
To get back to your point about 49ers potentially getting into the playoffs, if they had won this game in New Orleans, I think it would have been a lot of confidence for Colin Kaepernick and the whole team. But as you say, if they win out, if they get some confidence and that swagger back, I think it's a team that nobody would want to face in the playoffs.
They're gonna have to win road
We've got
games.
about 30 seconds.
I can do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to win road games in Philadelphia, New Orleans, and Seattle. To get to the Super Bowl, but it's possible.
It is possible.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. So we all think hands in the middle. They're gonna beat Washington, the Redskins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. This week's secret word, we didn't tell you about it earlier, is written right here. You can see what it says, is bum.
Bum Phillips?
No, that referee that made that call is a bum. I ain't letting this go. That was not a penalty. We should have won that game. Dan, thanks for being here. If you want to stay in touch with us, go to lovethenniners@AOL.com. We'd love to hear from you. Lovethenniners@AOL.com. We'll see you next week right here on Hooked on the Niners.
They're all officials, but there's only one referee.
I know. There's okay. Yeah, they're all officials, one referee. And he wears a...
White hat.